Hi again then guys, and welcome to another speed build on Forza Horizon 3 in particular, and this time we're tuning up the top tier version of the Jaguar XK, the XKR-S GT, super hardcore version of what is essentially a pretty big, pretty heavy luxury GT car. And the performance that this car has when tuned especially does actually allow it to take on, in some cases, full-on supercars. Now, as far as performance and engine swaps and tuning, that kind of stuff, I would recommend that 1500 horsepower Lamborghini engine. As far as the drivetrain, all-wheel drive is pretty much always the option that I would recommend. It helps you immeasurably off the line and, of course, off-road as well. As far as the aspiration, of course, you want the twin turbo, that goes without saying. And for the rest, stuff like wings, rims, that's down to you. Apart from that, of course, you want to upgrade the power as much as you can, lower the weight as much as you can, and fit everything to the car, apart from a couple of things, like you don't necessarily need the racing wing, you don't necessarily need to have the roll cage, but apart from those things, fit everything to the car that has race in the title. So the gearbox, the diff, suspension, brakes, all that kind of good stuff. Now this tune is incidentally on my storefront, so if you want to just get it quickly and easily, you can get it from there using the description keywords, or the keywords down in the description even. But as far as the benchmark goes, you're looking at 2 seconds to 60, 4.1, well, close enough, 4 actually technically, to 100, and just under 270. Flat out. That's pretty good. Now for the gearbox, I would recommend a 3.4 final drive, then pretty familiar gearing to people who have used my tunes before. 2.9 for first, then 2, 1.5, 1.18, 0.93 and 0.73, then alignment figures of 0 on camber and toe with 4 degrees of caster, and of course you can adjust any of these settings to more suit your personal driving style. That's the whole point of these tunes, so don't be afraid to mess around, don't be afraid to use different settings just to see what it does for you, or of course if you already know settings that work better for you with any particular car, of course you could go for those. Now as far as anti-roll, we've got those on 32 and 20, springs on 140 and 120. I've equalised the ride height to 10.6 front and rear. Now technically, if you raise it all the way, it will make your acceleration a little bit better on the benchmark. But that's down to you. I know a lot of people wouldn't want to do that. As far as dampers, we've got those on 9, 8, 4 and 4. Aero doesn't apply, funnily enough. And as far as the diff, we've got 100% on acceleration, as we often do, 0 on decel, and for this particular car, a 75% split in favour of that back end. And again, if you want to improve the benchmark a little bit more, you can take it down to 72, which just helps those numbers a little bit, but you don't necessarily have to do that. So, as I said, this tune is on my storefront, but for now, let's actually take it out on the road to see what it's capable of. Now, one thing in particular that you do need to be careful of with this car is with the 75% split towards the back end and with the full 1500 horsepower, it is inclined a little bit to get its tail out off the line. There aren't that many cars which do that. They tend to go pretty straight and true. This one will try to whip its tail around to get a little bit drift happy. So if you want to eliminate that, or at least improve it a little bit, you could go to a 70% bias instead of 75. But overall, it's not difficult to drive. It's actually a lot of fun when you're hooning it around. But once you get up to higher speeds, it handles extremely well. It's great for weaving through traffic, and it has no trouble whatsoever getting up around 270. So, overall, if you do decide to use this tune or get it from my storefront, either way, I hope you have a lot of fun with it, and there are literally hundreds more tunes like this here on the channel. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.